I'm going to talk about the College Promise program, which my wife Jill and I put together a few years ago. But really, I think this is a lesson in the power of changing how we think. So first, a little background. This is my dad, Ferenc Rostoczi. This picture was taken in 1957. He was living in a refugee camp in New Jersey, fresh off of a harrowing escape from Hungary. He'd been there for a few weeks, had some change in his pocket, a few weeks of English. He headed into town looking for a job, hoping to be able to use his Hungarian chemistry degree. He interviewed a number of places. Only one hiring manager was interested, and he offered my dad $55 a week. My dad had done some research, and he knew that the going rate was $70 a week for a chemist, so that's what he countered with. The hiring manager and my dad haggled. Eventually, the hiring manager said, "Look, the best my company can do is pay you $65 a week. That's the most we'll pay anybody who doesn't have an American college degree. If you had an American degree, I could pay you $90 a week." My dad didn't take the job. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? When I asked him why, he said, "Well, I learned something in the conversation. I learned the value of an American college degree. So I changed how I thought about my future, and I started to pursue that degree." Later that fall, he enrolled in Berkeley's graduate chemistry program, got himself a PhD, and he was well on his way to achieving his American dream. I want you to latch on to a couple lessons from that story. First, the value of an American college degree, and second, the power of changing how you think about your future. So let's fast forward to 2011. This is my family. My wife Jill and I had 4 kids, twin boys. They were in college at the time. Our 2 girls were in high school. We were staring at a soon-to-be empty nest. It's awesome, by the way. We were looking for a community project to get involved with. We were looking for a few things. We wanted to do something local. We wanted to do something to support kids, especially kids that could use a boost. We were and are fans of public education. Jill taught actually 5th and 6th grade, and I was on the local high school board at the time. And then we wanted to do something we could do together, which we've never really done a work project together. Jill likes working at ground level, dealing with people one-on-one. I kind of like strategy and the view from 10,000 feet. So we started thinking. We started thinking about kids who lived in some tough neighborhoods that weren't too far from our house. We thought about the value of a quality education for those kids, but the fact that they probably weren't thinking about that. We started thinking about the difference between those kids and our kids. In particular, our kids grew up always expecting to go to college and get a 4-year degree. That expectation never wavered, and they never had to worry about the money. Those kids in those tough neighborhoods probably weren't thinking like that. Well, what if we could change that? What if we could plant the seed at an early age that a 4-year degree was expected? What if we took the money issue off the table? But that might not be enough by itself. If those kids graduate from high school and they're not prepared, then that college opportunity is not really going to do them any good. So we should really try to impact how the schools are preparing the kids. But we knew that the schools struggled with student turnover. So was there a way that we could help keep the kids there longer so the schools could really have an impact? So we formed this idea. We would offer to pay for college for an entire early elementary school grade level. To qualify, the kids would have to graduate from the local public schools and obviously get into college. To try to incent the schools, to try to make sure these kids were prepared, they could take advantage of the opportunity, we created an incentive program. We knew that if we picked an early elementary grade level, then by the time those kids got to 8th grade, a bunch of kids would have moved away, a bunch of new kids would have moved in, and we were making a commitment to the kids there at the time. So the incentive we were going to offer the school was if by the time these kids get through 8th grade, if they can meet or beat the national average on a standardized test, then we'll renew the scholarship offer to all of the 8th graders there at the time. All right, so we started looking around for a school to partner with. We didn't have to look far. We wound up partnering with the Avondale Elementary School District and the Agua Fria Union High School District. I was actually serving on the board of the Agua Fria District at the time. We adopted the 3rd graders at Michael Anderson School. There are 84 of them. Michael Anderson School is 97% qualify for free and reduced lunch, and a large portion of them are learning English as a second language. So these are the goals for our program. We were hoping to change how the kids thought about their education, change how their parents thought as well. We were hoping to lower turnover in the classroom and help the schools do a good job getting those kids prepared. And our ultimate goal, what I thought would be true success, would be if half of those kids would wind up attending some college and half of those would get a 4-year degree. That's about what we do as a country. All right, so third graders. So we set up a meeting with the third graders and their parents. The school did a tremendous job. We were really impressed. We thought we were off to a great start because out of 84 kids, 82 kids and their parents or guardians were there. And they didn't know why they were coming to the meeting. The point of the meeting was a secret. So the school was really in touch with the kids and families. We were excited about that. So we're off and running. Jill on the ground, volunteering in the classrooms. Me still serving on the high school board. Periodically, we would meet with the administration and talk about progress. And together, we looked for ways to help those kids in those schools. So Arizona, where we're from, is not great when it comes to public education. In fact, we're 48th in the country when it comes to funding. And periodically, our government likes to move the goalposts for our educators. So when our kids were in 6th grade, the state did just that. They moved the goalposts. They adopted new standards and a new test to measure the progress against those standards. This is a chart of how all of the 6th grades across the state of Arizona did on the test that first year. Along the vertical axis, I know you can't read it, that's the percentage of kids that passed the test. The horizontal axis is the percentage of kids that qualify for free and reduced lunch at the school. Each dot you see is one grade level at one school. Obviously, you have the regression line. And then the blue dots are the schools within the Avondale district. And unfortunately, the red circle is Michael Anderson. Not looking very good. We're in trouble. So I need to introduce you to a couple of the heroes of this story. Dr. Betsy Hargrove is the superintendent at Avondale. Lori Gosler is the principal at Michael Anderson. They took the incentive program to heart, literally. I think they felt like they actually had a chance to earn college scholarships for their own children. So they got after it. They tried to figure out how we make this better. So 2 years later in 8th grade, state tests us again. Here's how we do. Much better. Look at that. Look where all those blue dots are, too. Michael Anderson's much better than the red circle, but all the schools in the district are much better. It's pretty awesome. Let's just refresh your memory here. 6th grade, 8th grade. Isn't that awesome? Challenge. Our incentive wasn't tied to doing well on a state test. It was tied to doing well on a national test. So in 7th grade, they gave our kids a Stanford 10. And you can see how they did. 55th percentile in math, 39th in language. Math, we were pumped. That's awesome. Language, not good enough. Probably really not surprising given the student body. So once again, Betsy and Lori got after it. They had district office employees down at Michael Anderson every day, doing extra small breakout groups, working on the language skills of our kids. You can see we retested in 8th grade. We didn't do the math part. We consider that goal having been met. Improved meaningfully in 8th grade. We didn't make the 50th percentile. But you know, if you average 55 and 45, you've got 50. So we considered the goal met. We were really pleased with the progress they'd made, so we renewed the offer to all the 8th graders at the time. So here's what they look like, with at least their college plans back then. One of the reasons maybe that things got better is the program really did impact retention. 2017 is our 8th grade year. So you can see we had 84 third graders, 54 were still there at the end of 8th grade. The year before, you can see it was about half. So retention did change. Interesting side effect, the retention continued. Now Jill's smarter than me, so she would tell you it's probably the siblings of our kids that stayed. Another interesting side effect of that retention was our class of 84 third graders had grown to be 100 8th graders, which I wasn't expecting. So I just wanted to give you a chance to look at them again because I love this picture. So out of our 100 8th graders, only 86 actually enrolled in the local public high schools. Our high school district divided them up into 2 different schools, Agua Fria High School and Desert Edge High School. So I'll introduce you to a couple more heroes. Dr. Dennis Runyon is the superintendent of the high school district. Julie Jones is the principal at Desert Edge. So the reason I'm talking to you now is because they just graduated in May, which was pretty exciting. So here's how we did. The control group would be kids that had gone through Michael Anderson and the local public high schools before our group. You can see we still impacted retention, but the college enrollment plans are dramatically different, and that's probably not surprising. Another interesting side benefit, look at the discipline numbers. Discipline in our group was about half of what it had been historically. And I think it's interesting. It would seem to make sense that if kids can tie a meaning and a purpose to their education, that they don't get in trouble as much. So what have the high schools been up to since we started the program back in 2012? Well, they've actually been doing really well. You can see graduation rates are up dramatically, but not just graduation rates. Rigor is up too. AP classes taken up 20%, AP tests taken up 50%, AP tests passed, and AP scholars produced up almost 4 times. Desert Edge High School, where Julie's principal was named this spring an A+ school in the state of Arizona. Julie was named a Principal of the Year. Alafria High School, the other school where our kids went, was named an A school. What's Michael Anderson been up to since our kids left 4 years ago? Well, they continue to grow faster than the state in both math and language. They were rated a C school by the state in 2017. Last year, ratings came out in 2019. They missed an A by 0.4%. Lori Gosler has been named an exemplary principal. And just this spring, they were one of 4 finalists nationally for the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching Founders Award. So pretty cool stuff. Now, I've been trying to give you a sense of this program from my view, strategy and 10,000 feet. Jill would tell you it's a much more interesting story on the ground, talking to the people. So we put together a little video to try to give you a sense of what that life on the ground was, or is. Hopefully it goes. Here we go.
It changed the culture of my household.
It changed the way I see the future personally, and then it changed my sister's future.
It changed the conversation from what it could be or might be to what will be.
My name is Joshua Garcia. I'm the 8th grade math teacher here at Michael Anderson. It was pretty cool to hear that, kids in the community here were going to get an opportunity to, move on beyond high school. For a lot of the kids in the community here, it's like graduate high school if possible and try to get a job to help out the family because, college is expensive.
I'm Eva Ramirez. I was a 3rd grade teacher when I found out about the Rotosi College Promise. These students, they're role models to friends, they're role models for their own family members, and they are definitely paving the way for our future generations as well and changing our community in a positive way.
Not everyone has that ability or that pathway for college. And the fact that the Rostosi Foundation was providing a scholarship path, that got me incredibly excited. Families began to realize that their children had possibilities. As teachers, that's what we want.
My name is Rashida Mitchell. I am a mother of 3 daughters, Jasmine, Kiera, and Desiree. At the time that we had moved into the community, we were coming out of a homeless shelter. So it was a really, really, really difficult time for me and the girls. And it was definitely a shock to even know that she felt in the realms of children that even had that kind of an opportunity. And it just kind of gave us something to look forward to and something to strive for. Like we had a purpose for everything.
Ha cambiado como sus hermanos, su hermana la más chica que él. También ella se siente muy orgullosa porque recibió esta beca. Dice que es el único que va a tener su beca y va a aprovechar la universidad porque ninguno fue.
I feel like if I didn't have this, I probably would have ended up going to community, but even that might have been like a stretch. This really affected my brothers and how my sisters and friends all see college, because I know some people that just not thinking about college at all, and I really try to tell them like it might not be that important now, but maybe in the future it'll help you a lot.
I'm Erica Delgado. I'm at Desert Edge right now, valedictorian. I'll be going to GCU. We were just talking about it in class earlier, and it was like, did we see ourselves in college? And I said no. If I didn't have this, I didn't think I would have, because my parents are always working, but they have things to pay, and it's like if I'm a student, I was thinking it's like I've been working for a whole year and it doesn't even help me pay off my first semester in college. So I think the money wasn't holding me back from, going further.
Pues igual yo cuando estaba yo en la escuela, yo no, como les digo a ellas, mis padres no tuvieron la oportunidad de seguirme mandando a la escuela. Ni ahora ellas tienen la oportunidad. Son cosas que para mí son mucha alegría y orgullo. Yo las veo a ellas muy lejos, a las dos, a ella, a Erika y a Natalia.
On Saturday, I'm graduating from Desert and I am going into ASU to study financial planning. I'm actually very one of the first ones who's always talking about college, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. So they're always very happy for me, and they're always you know what, I wanna go now too. They're always telling me I wanna go into college and study this with you.
After watching these kids over the past 3 years, I've really got to see a family come back together. Even last week, one of our kids wasn't gonna pass, and so they just kind of huddled together and were helping him. Let's do this, you need to do this. And so they really help each other academically and emotionally.
This College Promise program and what it had to offer really tied right into what we're doing here at our school in our culture and providing support to all of our students, but having this additional incentive and motivator to help with student success, that's just a dream.
Education is not measured in minutes, it's not measured in hours or days or even months, it's measured in generations and the impact that has on students. This is something that has tipped the scale for the generations in the future in a way that's very positive.
I really believe that the College Promise opportunity has a multiplier effect. And so when you think about the group of students who are now seniors going on to their college years, that is just the beginning. Because when the kids were in third grade, it didn't just impact the children in that one grade level that we've been able to bring this forward with. It impacted their older siblings and it impacted their younger siblings. It can open up opportunities for an older sibling who may need additional resources that now the family can say, we don't have to worry about two. We have one taken care of. We can focus on the older one or the younger one to be able to access different opportunities.
It changed the way that we look at the future in terms of what we can do for students and provide for students.
It changed the students so that they could be more accountable.
Ha cambiado mucho porque años atrás a lo mejor no era como decir, oh, mi hija tiene que ir a la universidad.
It truly just changed how we move about with ourselves and just gave us a sense of worth.
So just want to highlight a couple of those at the ground stories that Jill would appreciate. Erica Delgado, valedictorian of her high school. She mentioned in the video that she didn't see herself going to college if not for this program. She also mentioned in the interview, just not in the video, that she probably wouldn't have put the energy into her studies if not for this program, because there really wouldn't have been a point. And Rashida Mitchell, she mentioned that she and her 3 daughters, single mom, 3 daughters, were moved into the community out of a homeless shelter, which again is not in the video. Jasmine is her middle daughter who's in our program. She'll be attending the University of Arizona in the fall. Her older sister is currently at ASU, and the younger sister has plans to go to college in Texas. So talk about heroic mothering. Single mom out of a homeless shelter, could wind up with 3 kids in college. So there's so many heroes in this story, from Betsy and Lori and the folks at Michael Anderson and the Avondale District and the things they did to help get our kids and future generations prepared, to Dennis and Julie and the folks at Desert Edge and Agua Fria and that whole high school district and the improvements they've made in the past 8 years. The kids who put in the hard work to take advantage of the opportunity, their parents who supported them and actually started thinking about doing the same thing for their other kids. There's so many heroes. And Jill and I have been debating as I was preparing for this talk amongst ourselves, so what did we actually do? And Jill would say, well, frankly, not much. And as I think about it, I think our contribution goes back to that story about my dad. I think we helped them see the value of an American college degree, and I think we helped them change how they thought about their future. Thank you.